Hey everybody, this is Roberto Blake of RobertoBlake.com, geeking out with you today over something awesome. This is one of my favorite pieces of tech that I've recently acquired. Happy to report that my 4K video editing and gaming rig is pretty much done at this point. All the major components are done. The very last piece of resistance was the GTX 1070 graphics card. I went with the Asus version of that, the Asus ROG Strix. This thing's a monster. First of all, as a designer, I really appreciate what they did with the packaging for this. It is tremendous. This is very cool. It's the kind of thing that I've come to expect from Asus lately. In fact, the packaging on the Asus monitor that I bought for a 4K video editing monitor was also well packaged. I will have a review coming up on that soon for you guys. The performance of this graphics card is tremendous, and it was a bargain. In my case, I actually got it while the price was down on Amazon. You have to constantly check. I was able to get it for about $449, I believe. This is an amazing bang for the buck graphics card. The 1070 handled all the benchmark tests with flying colors. If you guys are interested, I can actually release some videos with those benchmarks. I just need to know in the comment section if that's something you guys care about at all. Everybody's already talked about this graphics card for gaming, and I will get into that, but let's talk about why I really bought it. 4K video editing and HD video editing for YouTube. This is one of the best experiences I've had with rendering in a long time. The CPU rendering on this was already great at reducing the time that it takes for me to finish editing and rendering my videos, but with the GTX 1070, blew it out of the water. A 10-minute video with color grading took about 4 minutes and 45 seconds to render. That's nuts. A 4K video for a minute took about 3 or 4 minutes to render for 4K video. So if I do a typical YouTube video of 5 or more minutes, it'll take me somewhere between 20 and 30 minutes to render this if it's a 4K video, which is insane. And that's coming from the Panasonic Lumix G7. So we're not even talking about faux 4K video coming from your smartphone or something like that. We're talking about real 4K video from the Panasonic Lumix G7. So this was a really good test of that. I am completely satisfied with how it handles everything. I can edit without any lags or delay in full resolution on my new 4K Asus monitor. I got a gaming monitor for that, and when I was playing Overwatch, I was able to maintain 60 frames per second at ultra settings at 1440. That is insane, but here's the beauty of it. When streaming, I could easily maintain over 30 frames per second, closer usually to 45 or 50 while streaming with Open Broadcaster. So that's really cool. Now, one of the bonus features that the Asus ROG comes with, and this might be great for those of you who are gaming, is it does come with a year of XSplit Premium. So that means that you can gamecast. You can go ahead and stream to Twitch or YouTube or whatever you're trying to do, and you can also display the frames per second, the GPU temps, whatever you want to do as far as an overlay, and I think that that is amazing. This is a future-proof card. The 1080 might have been a little better, but for my budget, I really just didn't want to go there, and the reality is I could still put another second GTX 1070 into my system. It can accommodate that. It'll be a tight squeeze, it'll be a pain in the butt for me, but I could do it if I want to, just to increase the performance that much more. I probably wouldn't put these into SLI configuration. I would probably actually just use them as standalone graphics cards, since for video editing, you don't really get any bonuses out of SLI, but you can by using the graphics cards individually as standalone cards. That's if you're using 2 cards. There's really no video editing bonus for using more than 2 graphics cards. So I just want to clear up that myth. I'll probably cover it in another video. Speaking of future-proofing, this card is ready for VR. So if I ever decide to get the HT Vive or I decide to get the Oculus Rift, I can go ahead and I can hook that up into one of the 2 HDMI ports that it has. It also has a display port, so I can still run dual monitors and put a VR headset in this. As is for my workflow, I'm getting ready to order my second 4K monitor, so I'm just running dual screens. One is 1080 and one is a 4K monitor, but I can run dual screens and still run my Artisul tablet, which is kind of an alternative to a Wacom Cintiq, for those of you who are not familiar with it. I did a video about this before, but basically I can run 3 displays at once with no problem using this setup. The performance is great, the design is amazing, you can overclock this if you really want to. I prefer not to use the automation for the fan speeds. I prefer to just have that running at a constant speed myself that keeps it cool, but you can set all of that up. The one downside that I will say about this card is that the Asus GPU tweak software for it, for overclocking and controlling everything, is not something that's just plug and play. You end up having to download it from the website. This is a little bit of a pain in the butt, but it's not anything that difficult to deal with. This has been a great addition to my 4K video editing build. It has definitely been an experience using it, and I'm totally satisfied. There is a part of me that's tempted to buy a second one of these cards, so I highly recommend it. This is a great card, but if you have a little bit more money in your budget, feel free to go ahead and get the GTX 1080. I think that if you're trying to do video editing or you want to do high-end gaming, that these are great cards, and the new Pascal architecture with the 8 GB of virtual memory is really allowing these cards to like just reach their maximum potential, and I really dig that. The reason that this works so well with Adobe Premiere Pro and video editing and rendering is because this is utilizing about 1,920 Cuda cores. Cuda cores are really great for when you're doing video editing and rendering, as far as the playback engine when you want to do the editing and not have lags and delays, but also this can help offset the CPU when you're rendering, which means the CPU can focus on its task, the GPU can help out, and thus you're getting faster render times. I'm seeing render times cut down by half or more. When you're video editing, time is money, and so this is great for me. This makes me a lot more productive. It makes me very comfortable to start shooting more videos in 4K for you guys. And so I have to give this a completely favorable review. I'm going to give it 5 out of 5 stars, despite the cons of the price fluctuation and the GPU tweak software not just being plug and play. But other than that, it is a great video graphics card. Couldn't recommend it more. So go ahead and buy it. Links are in the description. Those Amazon links help me and the channel out. Also, I will have a list that you guys can click on if you just want to grab everything or look at what my 4K video editing build really looks like. So that's in the description below as well. Anyway, that's my review of the Asus ROG Strix GTX 1070 from Asus and NVIDIA. Let me know what graphics cards you're using and what your performance is if you're doing video editing specifically. I'd love to know that in the comment section. Are you running 2 graphics cards for your video editing? Are you running 1? And why? Are you doing 4K video editing? Let me know. Anyway, like this video if you like it. Don't forget to subscribe. Check out the other awesome content on the channel. Remember, I usually do tech stuff on Tuesdays, but I'm actually going to load up a lot more on that here in the near future. There's a lot of stuff that I've recently bought that I have to review for you guys. As always, thanks so much for watching and geeking out with me over the new GTX 1070 from Asus and NVIDIA.